Well, hey, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr.
And
Steph.
thank you so much for tuning in to our life, our journey, and our truth. We're so excited to have you connected once again to this platform. And every single week, those of you come in, we appreciate you so much for just landing on this page and being a part of this community. For us, it means a lot, and we don't take it for granted. Make sure that you like and comment.
And subscribe and share with your friends.
Please do
and
that.
family.
Yes. Continue to build this community together. And also make sure that you follow Dr. Steph. Dr. Steph, follow me at Joseph Walker 3. And make sure you go to our website, josephwalker3.org, get our book, other things that are happening. We're just excited to have you connected today. And we certainly appreciate the opportunity to pour into you. We are excited because so many of you let us know all around the world, right, that this platform is blessing your life. And so we thank you so much for helping us to build this community to be a blessing to God's people. So thank y'all once again. Now, accountability.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, accountability. That's
What does
a
that
big
mean for you?
word.
Yeah.
What does it mean for me?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's for me accountability. I mean, obviously there's a formal definition, but I'm going to answer it the way you asked it. Accountability to me means that you are submitted to godly wisdom, not opinions,
Mm-hmm.
but godly wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
How about for you?
I like that definition, but I will say my idea of accountability is having people around you that you trust that will speak truth to you in a loving way, um, to help keep you on your path towards greatness. And sometimes the truth hurts, but they're willing to risk the relationship to make sure that you reach your godly destination.
Wow. Would you then agree then that a part of being accountable
Mm-hmm.
is being honest with yourself? I cannot be accountable to anyone if I'm not honest about what they're bringing to me, if I'm in denial. And I
Oh,
often, this is what
100%.
I'm
Like
getting at.
there's
Yeah,
people
yeah,
who
yeah,
you feel assigned to and clearly have been assigned to you to hold them accountable. But as long as you're saying, yes, keep doing what you're doing, then they love that type of accountability partner,
yeah,
cheering them on.
yeah.
But the moment that you see them make a left or they should be making a right or keeping straight, and you direct their attention to that, oh, sometimes they can't handle it. And so I think when it comes to accountability, you have to, I don't know, like sometimes you don't actually know your truth per se,
Yeah.
but you have to know the truth and the person that you're asking to be your accountability
Got it.
person.
Got it.
Does that make sense? Like if you're my accountability person, your job is to make sure that I see things that I don't always see,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But my job, even if I don't see it, is to trust that you have my best interest
That's
at
the
heart.
key word, though.
Yeah.
That's because there's obviously the issue of honesty, but it's trust. And a lot of times people don't trust the intentions of the people who are telling them sometimes.
No, well, no, I think that's if I'm asking you to be my accountability partner, it's because I do trust it in theory,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
But then when you don't tell me what I want to hear, it's not that I don't necessarily trust you, it's that I don't want to hear it. So then I convince myself that I don't trust you.
Ah,
But that's not it. It's my immaturity not wanting to listen to what you're having to tell me. And so instead of me being honest with myself and saying, this person is really trying to redirect me in the right direction, I make up this story in my head that they're out to get me or they're jealous or
I get it.
they're against me now or whatever,
Yeah,
because then that coincides with what I want to do, which is go down this dark path.
I see.
Does that make
I
sense?
see.
Like it's a
No,
slippery
I get
slope.
it. No, I mean, hey, say less. I understand it. So the question then is, how do you choose an accountability partner? What are the criteria? Because if you choose them, there is trust. What
Mhm.
makes you trust it?
I think you have to first be careful what you ask for, right? Like, if you want an accountability partner, you have to really understand what that means and what you're asking that person to do. And that person that's being asked, I think it's important that you have a real conversation about what is it that you're really asking me to do? What is my assignment here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because your idea of an accountability partner might not be their idea of an accountability
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah. For
Like,
sure.
don't ask me to be your accountability partner if you don't want me to tell you the truth,
Yeah. Yeah.
period. Because otherwise that defeats the purpose. I'm not going to tell you anything in in malice or whatever. I will tell you the truth, and sometimes you're not going to always want to hear the truth. Now, if you feel like you need to hear the your version of the truth all the time, I'm not the right person for you.
Yeah. So do you think that a part of the trust and the actual initial engagement of an accountability partner has to do with the fact that I truly have a respect for the body of work that you have in that particular area
In
or
theory,
in theory.
yeah.
Like, I always say you can't take constructive criticism from someone who's not constructed anything.
Mhm.
So, in some sense, you run the risk of getting accountability partners who don't necessarily have kind of
A
a
repertoire of
repertoire of
material.
material to actually validate why they telling you. That's why it can be undermined by your lack of trust or your cynicism around how you gonna tell me and look at your life. Like there's this
But then you
idea
shouldn't have
you
chosen them.
shouldn't
That's
have
the stuff,
chosen them.
right?
Right. And that is the key. And sometimes
Mhm.
people choose folks like that because they can manipulate the
Mhm.
relationship and only hear what they want to hear. But when you
Mhm.
but game
Or
becomes
they
game,
choose
yeah.
accountability partners who have less than, and not in a bad way, just strictly facts,
Yeah.
like are are trying to climb, who are not yet where they
That's
are,
correct.
so that they can't truly hold them
Yeah.
accountable.
Yeah.
You might choose someone who looks up to you as your accountability partner.
Mm.
Well, these are yes people. These aren't accountability partners,
Yeah.
right? These are people that are going to tell you you're the greatest. That's the best idea I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yes, keep doing what you're doing. Ooh, I want to be like you.
Yeah.
And
That's
there's
good.
a psyche that goes into
Yeah.
wanting to be around only those people who are telling you those things.
Yeah.
Those are not accountability partners. Those are fans,
Yeah.
right? Those are like your
Yeah.
cheering squad.
Yeah.
Your cheering squad and
Yeah.
your fans are not necessarily going to be good accountability partners.
Yeah. One of the things that we say a lot in among clergy,
What?
don't tell me who you're over until you can tell me who
Who
you're
you're
under.
under. I
Ooh,
know that's
how
right.
about that?
Mhm.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, if
yeah,
you don't ask me to submit to you, if you haven't submitted yourself to anyone
yes,
either,
yes,
right? And I
yes.
think that's not, yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's funny, like
yeah,
that's great for clergy. But I also said that just in terms of relationships. Like I said that I wanted a man, I wanted to be so close to God that he had to go through God to get to me. And that meant that he was submissive to God, right? If a man wants a woman to be submissive, submit to him in marriage,
yeah,
he has to submit to something much greater, right? And if he's not willing to live his life in submission, then he's not worthy of my submission to him.
yeah. I think this conversation is so important because I know people watching right now, and somebody's probably saying, "Well, then how do you draw the line between, or is the line blurred between accountability and control?" Because you have people who say, "I appreciate you being accountable, but you're
Yeah.
not going to control."
Yeah,
You know,
no, like I think like when you're talking about holding people accountable, that's not me making you do anything.
just give me information.
It's just me being observant and saying, hey, like you brought me into this space because you were trying to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
Instead, I see that you are currently doing this, this, and this, and that's not going to put you on the path or keep you on the path to where you're going. And it's my job to help you recognize that. What you do with that information after that is up to you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can take it or leave it.
yeah,
And I think, though, that's important for anyone, just in terms of wise counsel in general. Like, I have people that I go to who are very close to me. It's not just one person ever, it's a group of wise counsel. And, I know which type of information to get to which individual based on their personalities and their ability
good.
to speak into my life on those particular subjects. And I might go to two or three people regarding something. and I take what I want and I spit out the bones. It's not about them controlling me. It's about them giving me food for thought,
Yeah.
things to think about that maybe I haven't thought about,
Yeah.
pointing out things that maybe I haven't seen, and then me sort of consolidating that information and figuring out how I choose to move forward. Now, if someone is trying to make you do
Yeah.
what they want you to do, then that
That's
all by
control.
itself is control, is
That's control.
pathologic, really.
Yeah.
Like that is a sickness and an
Yeah.
illness, and it's narcissistic too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I think oftentimes I think people who want accountability, like they really do align themselves with all those values that you talked about.
Yeah.
I think people truly do inquire of those whom they respect to say, before I make this decision,
Mm-hmm.
I really feel strongly that this is what I want to do, but I like
Mm-hmm.
another voice into it. There
Mm-hmm.
have been times you and I have done this, right? Even in marriage, I think it's important, right? This co-accountability where I've said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I feel strongly about this, but I want you to put your eyes on it." And you said, "Well, have you considered this?" Or,
Mm-hmm.
and I've realized that God speaks through my wife to give me clarity concerning vision, and I like to her. And so, I think that we often miss um, opportunities
Mm-hmm.
because we do things in silo without.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says there's safety in a multitude of counsel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I
And I think
agree.
sometimes being willing to ask questions before we
Mm-hmm.
move forward could
Mm-hmm.
help us,
I
right?
think sometimes people are afraid um, of presenting their ideas for fear that someone might either quickly shoot it
Yeah.
down, or if someone finds something that may need improvement, as opposed to looking at it
Yeah.
as an area that just
Manipulate.
needs
Yeah.
improvement,
Yeah.
they look at it as failure.
Yeah.
And that's not my personality. Like, if I'm creating something, I want the best eyes on this to rip it to shreds
Yeah.
so that I can build it back and build it stronger.
Huh.
I need you to come in and identify all the gaps in my thought process, all the gaps in any of the other processes that we have in place here. What have I not thought about? What can I do better? What's your experience been regarding X, Y, and Z in terms of what you see here? And then I go and I figure out what will work or what won't work based on whatever that advice or what have you was, and then whatever my finished product is clearly going to be much better than something that I could just do by myself. But that's why it's about wise counsel,
Wise counsel.
right? Like, you
Yeah.
don't go and you bring your idea to a bunch of people who have no
No
experience in
experience
that
as
area.
well.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're going to be producing garbage. Like, you want whatever it is to take you higher. And it's not about taking, again, all the advice. It might be something that where you're like, okay, well, if I do that, that's not really being authentic to
Right.
me in terms of
Sure.
who I am as a person. So I think that's a good idea, but that's not for this project, or that's not for me, or
Yeah.
that's not for what I'm trying to do or where I'm trying to go, because that would make me appear or feel like I'm doing something that's inauthentic to myself.
Yeah. No, that's real good. I think that I talked about honesty up front, right? I
Mhm.
talked about the importance of just, in order for accountability to work, there must be honesty on both parts.
Yeah, and
Honesty, the
mhm,
ability to be honest with the
mhm,
person's ability to be honest about what the
mhm.
deficit is and own that and say, I'm coming to you because I realize that there's something wrong versus being in denial. I think one of the other things that,
And trust.
and
Mhm.
trust, right? But I think one of the other things that's incredibly important is humility.
Yeah. In order to submit, you have to have a sense of
Oh
humility,
God, that's how I always hit the,
because
yeah,
otherwise,
yeah,
without humility, you believe that there's no one greater.
yeah,
There's no one that can speak
yeah,
into your life because you
yeah.
know everything. Like,
I've seen that play out in
yeah,
people's lives, yeah.
yeah, having a sense of there's something that this person can add value to here.
That's real.
There's a way the person can add value, as opposed to thinking that I know everything.
Yeah, like Bullwinkle. Mr. Know-It-All. Remember that?
No.
You know my Bullwinkle?
I remember Bullwinkle, sort of, kind of, but I don't think I watched
Yeah,
it.
that
Did
was
y'all
like the
watch Bullwinkle?
coolest cartoon ever. He said, Mr. Bullwinkle, he knows it all. He watched me pull a rabbit out of my hat. He goes, ooh, it's really a thing. It's really a thing. Like he knew it
Like,
all.
you're
Like
dating yourself.
in his mind, yeah.
Uh,
Wow, yeah, dating myself, right?
yeah, so I think, what was the first one you said?
About honesty and
Yeah, being
trust.
honest with yourself,
Yeah,
having a sense of trust in that individual, having a sense of clarity by making sure that you guys are on the same page in terms of what an accountability partner is or looks like, having that conversation about like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Like, what do you need from me in this season in terms
Yeah.
of holding you accountable?
Yeah.
Like, what does
Yeah.
that look like?
Yeah.
Because people's definition of accountability can be different. And then being willing to submit, and not submit in the same way like
Yeah.
marriage
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
submitting to God, not that, but I think the better word in opposed to submission is having a sense of humility and understanding that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose in having an accountability partner is for you to get to your place of greatness.
Yeah, I think that's great. So maybe this next area is about jobs, relationships. It's all areas,
Hmm.
but a similar issue. It has a lot to do with security.
Like what?
For example, an employer hires you,
Hmm.
says, "Okay, you can work from home."
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I
Big
got it.
big deal,
Uh-huh.
right?
Hmm.
And how does the employee provide a level of security to the employer to assure that you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing to give them a level of security to believe that the investment they're making is actually worth it?
Produce without excuse,
Producing it on
right?
schedule, on time,
On
book, book,
schedule,
book,
on
book,
time,
book.
being where you say that you're going to be, when you say that you're going to be there, when there's a meeting, and even if it's via
Yeah,
Zoom, that you're
yeah,
on those calls, that
yeah.
you're on the calls prepared, that you're not walking around the grocery store like or shopping, talking about, oh, I'm
Tell
sorry I'm late, or
yeah.
driving in the car all the time.
Do you think
Every once in a
let
while
me throw
people
this
get trapped in the
let me
car.
throw this is a pet peeve of mine. I'm gonna throw this out. You tell me what you think about this. So in the virtual space, and I think it's important. I think we have a hybrid model in our
Hmm.
church.
Hmm.
People come in some days,
Hmm.
but I'm okay with folks working from home. How do you feel about if a person is working from home on the clock and is in a meeting on Zoom and doesn't come on the camera? If we were in person, you would be there. So, what is so important? What is taking away from your moment of time to be engaged? I can't come on camera because I'm doing my hair. I just got the shower. Like, would you just be getting out the shower if you were sitting? Maybe this is
Yeah.
controversial,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, it for an employer, it's incredibly offensive because we're thinking,
Really?
oh, so one of my friends, one of our mutual
Yeah.
friends, does this. He brings his whole staff in, and he has these paper plates in front of him, and then he starts the meeting by putting telling them to put the paper plates over their face. He said, "This is how it feels watching you on Zoom."
Oh, that's different. Yes.
Yeah, like this is
Yeah.
it. So, what's the difference? If you accountability security,
Yeah.
if you are on
Yeah, but
time,
I think though that goes back to helping understand people understand what your expectation is. And that should be part of the expectation that is stated. Because I mean, Zoom is, I mean, obviously it's optional. It says camera on or camera off. And if it wasn't optional, then it shouldn't be there. And you should state from the beginning that if you are given the privilege of working from home when we have calls, you need to show your face. Period.
and I think for me, I think it's like a
You can't
no-brainer.
assume.
I assume it, and that's
When you say
unfortunate
it's
that
a
I do.
no-brainer, I mean,
It's
like,
unfortunate I do. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
like,
unfortunate that I
well,
do.
because let's say, for example, if I hop on a call and it's like sometimes business calls are last
No,
minute,
I understand that.
admittedly,
Facts,
right?
facts.
And people are judgmental by nature.
Yeah,
Like, if I've been grinding all day, but I don't have a true event until the evening, sometimes I'm not camera
that's good.
ready,
That's good.
right?
Now that is an exception.
Especially as a
Yeah, I'm
female.
talking about 10 o'clock in the morning now.
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking
so
about
what?
at 10 o'clock in the morning when on a scheduled meeting.
Yeah, but that's different.
That's what I'm
But
on.
my
But to
point
your point, you're right.
is
Yeah, yeah.
that sometimes, like, you read the book Ikigai,
Yeah, yeah.
which is being in your zone. Sometimes when you are in your zone, it's not about me getting up and putting on makeup and doing my hair to the best of my ability and being camera ready. It's about getting up, getting the job done, being focused, and grinding for 3 or 4 hours because now I'm in my element and I don't want to be disturbed. And then some people think that calling you and being like, oh, there's a meeting, there's an important meeting
Oh,
in
that's
10
different.
minutes,
Yeah, that's different.
right? That now suddenly you should morph into somebody or something like you're Superman, like jump in the closet and jump out, and now you're all super pretty. Well, if that's your brand, don't get on these phone calls looking crazy. So you better have a cute little picture up of who you are with your name, and don't get on camera. That would be my recommendation, because these people will talk about you. They pretend like they don't, but they will, you know? Now, if it is a scheduled meeting, I think that's different, especially though if it's stated.
Yeah.
If it's not stated that that's what your expectation is, you can't make the assumption that that's everybody's like feeling or understanding or
So
experience.
what about in other areas, relationships, somebody watching right now saying, okay, is there a level of accountability in the exact same thing? Say, how do you bring a level of security in the relationship, right? To self account yourself. You
Mhm.
get it? To
Yeah.
self account yourself.
Yeah.
Is it making myself available? Not being, you talked about if you're going to be doing this, you're not in the grocery store. Well, if you are in a relationship and you're married, it's like this idea that if I say I'm going to be here, this is where I'm going to be. If I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. If I'm not, if
Yeah, if
something
you say
changes,
that, honey, I gotta go get
communicate
some
that.
eggs from the grocery store,
Yeah,
and you're not gonna call me 2 hours later and say that you're up in the bar
yeah,
with the homies
yeah,
when you said that you were coming right home.
yeah.
Like,
Unless I tell you
there's
I'm
a
going.
disconnect.
Unless I tell you, hey,
And
the
that's
guy's
not being
home.
controlling.
Yeah,
That's just saying
yeah,
that
yeah,
it's respectful to be like,
yeah.
oh, well, I'm in the grocery store and so just called. The guys are watching the game at such and such and such and
That's
such. I'm
good.
gonna head out and
And you
go
say
with
cool,
them.
and you're gonna say cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so if you FaceTime me and I'm at the bar and I don't pick up because I'm like not FaceTime ready, how you gonna feel?
That doesn't even make sense.
I'm being
How
petty.
you gonna feel when you get locked out?
Oh, see, I was being petty on that Zoom thing. I need you to pick up your Zoom now.
Yeah, but I think part of that just goes to expectation.
Yeah,
I think that a lot of times there's a disconnect in society
yeah.
because people don't speak their expectation,
Now that's
and
the
they
key
think
word.
that people are mind
If you
readers.
clearly
And so,
articulate what those
and
expectations
so
are,
when
yeah.
someone doesn't meet your expectation, like I had someone tell me like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so upset at you because you were supposed to be this for me and that for me and that for me and that for me." And it shocked me to my core, cuz one, we never had this conversation. I never signed up for that. I would never sign up to be that your end all be all. I mean, you're not my child. Like, I would never do that to another whole grown human being,
Whole
too,
grown.
whole grown. And then, like, to have that expectation, if you would have voiced that to me, we would have had to sit down and have a really long therapeutic session, because there's nothing normal about that type of thought process. And so, like, you just don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what historical trauma they've
That's
brought
so
to the
true.
table. You don't know what previous experiences they have.
That's
You
good.
don't know what their level of
I
expectation
love
is.
it.
So I
I
think it's
love it.
so critically important when it comes to these kind of conversations, just life in general. Like, don't make assumptions.
Yeah. Thanks.
Don't make assumptions. Like my mentor would always say, don't assume, because when you assume, it makes if you look at the spelling of assume,
Yeah.
it makes a ASS out of you and me.
Yeah.
Don't assume.
Yeah.
And that is so true, because when you assume that people have this understanding and then you look up and they didn't produce the way that you wanted them to produce, you tend to blame the other person, but really, whose fault is that? When you never communicated your expectation and you never sat down to ask on the reverse side, what do you expect of me from this? You just sign up, yeah, I'll do it. Or they just hire you, yeah, come on in. I'm confident that you can do the job. Well, there has to be some sort of communication here in terms of like, okay, let's lay this out. Because we've seen this play out over and
Yeah.
over and over again about people misunderstanding one another.
So, I think as we close this up, I think that is so profound what you just shared about communication, because there can be no expectation without communication.
Mm-mm.
And if you really think about that, every move God made,
Mhm.
he always communicated his
Yes.
expectation up front.
Yes.
He communicated his
Mhm.
expectation to Adam and Eve. And the devil said, God didn't mean what he said. It was God told you what to do. You made a decision not to be
Yes.
accountable.
Yes.
God made a commitment to Abram, and he made it out, the covenant. And God said, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. He laid it out in the book of Deuteronomy. He laid it out in the book of Exodus.
He makes it
He made the
clear.
10 Commandments.
Mhm.
in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus teaches, these expectations are clear. You then submit and hold yourself accountable to what's been communicated to you. God never intends us to be accountable to where there is no communication.
Mhm.
And that is perhaps, I think, what I was getting at
Yeah.
all around trying to be petty playing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No,
it was
totally.
about helping people know that one of the deficits in human relationship
Yeah.
is what?
Communication.
And
Mhm.
communication at its core, what do you think the root of the word communication is?
Commune, to come
To
together.
come together,
Mhm.
to spend time. It's
Mhm.
hard to communicate when you're in different spaces. It's
Mhm.
sitting down, and the Bible says, above all, get an understanding.
Mhm.
He that hath an ear, let him hear. And so we hope that
Mhm.
this will help you be more accountable to God, to whomever you have asked to be an accountability partner,
Mhm.
to each other in relationships.
Mhm.
Because I'm going to tell you something, accountability serves as guardrails
Mhm.
for your destiny.
Mhm.
There have been times, man, I was about to make some stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And this one has said, babe, and this is the way you say it. She said, babe, I love you. That's how I always know it's for me. And then she'll lean in on, have you considered this? I want you to think about this and go back and pray about this. And likewise, have people in your life who you trust
Mhm.
to hold you accountable and be honest about where you are, and have people that can tell you the truth.
Mhm.
Got enough people in your life will tell you anything you want to hear,
Right.
but the real soldiers will tell you the truth. That was a good one, babe.
Yeah, that was fun.
Cheers on that one.
Conversation.
Whoop. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another edition of Our Life, Our Journey, Our Truth. We hope you've been blessed. Let us know what you think about it. Put in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Thank y'all again. And until next time, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.